I've owned that car for 52 years now. Bought it in 1968 when I was in the military. And my brother drove it for 4 years while he was in high school until I got out of the service in 71. But it's a work in progress. Every hot rod is. If you're a backyard shade tree guy and kind of guy, and of course I was for many years, I didn't have a garage to work in. The car has evolved from a street car, street race car, to a gasser. And even though in 1968, we could have ran the gasser class, we didn't. Gassers back then were any car. They had a class for any car that ran gasoline. And that was the whole intent of the class, to get everybody involved in it. The car, as I acquired it, it was kind of a unique story. I came home on leave one time. I was in the Air Force in a SAC base in New York, upper New York. And I came down looking for a car, came back home to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where I'm from. And my brother said, I know where there's an Impala, 63 Super Sport Impala that I wanted to get, that I could travel back and forth while my duty station was only 4 hours away, that I could travel from New York to Pennsylvania, where my hometown is. But in the event, we went out to a place called Tom and Jerry's, which is still in existence today. Now, this is 1968. And lo and behold, there was an Impala there, but it was a 283 Impala, straight Impala. It was not a Super Sport, which I wanted dearly. But while we were there checking this car out, we heard a car in the background revving up, rev, making all kind of hot rod noises that you associate with a hot rod. And my brother, he ran back there. He's 3 years younger than I am. And he ran back and he said, you got to see this car. You got to see this car. So I went back and it was this beast right here. And the guy got a for sale sign on it, and he was the guy that did the repairs at Tom and Jerry's. He was the mechanic. And of course, at that time, it had a 283 in it, punched out 301, and triple deuces. Well, that really enticed me with a 3-speed on the floor, but it had a 3-speed transmission. So I bought it for $650. And my brother drove it home, and on the way home, the gas gauge had full, and he ran out of gas. So my dad hooked him up with the Buick Riviera. And, at that time, he had a Buick station wagon, old Sabre station wagon. Hooked him up and towed him the rest of the way home. But the car itself has a 3-speed now. It's got 3 pedals, and I know that David Gregg's always talking about 3-pedal. The organization he represents, the group 3-pedal gassers, and of course, I ran 3-pedal cars my whole life until 2012. In 2012, I had my knee replaced. And I have such arthritis in my left knee that I said, I'm getting rid of the clutches. I had a clutch in my Pontiac, had one in the Chevy, and I raced poorly in my Chevy, never ever able to hit 3rd gear, okay? And raced at then at Ware Shoals after I moved here in 2005. Occasionally raced down there, but went to mostly car shows until I retired. And the car has a Turbo 400 built by Guru Transmissions. I don't know if you ever heard of Guru Transmissions out of Star, South Carolina, owned by Mike Scott. And I call him my guru, and he's picked up the name, and I'm still waiting for the decals for the side of my car that say Guru Transmissions. So I'm giving Mike a little bit of plug. It's just got a 12-bolt rear that I put in my girlfriend's driveway on a pair of jack stands. It's 12-bolt. And I leveled it up as good as I could on the stone. And her cousin lived across the street, and he was a metal worker, had a welder. And I said, I want to put this rear underneath this car because I couldn't hold the stock rear with a big block in it. So I picked up a Nova Super Sport rear that was wrecked in you could find them then. We're talking about 1974. I set it up, checked pinion angle as best as I could, and the guy welded the perches on, and that's history now, And of course, everything's history in that regard. But it's a leaf spring car, has the original leaf springs, knock on wood, and it's an air shock car. I've got no 4 links under there. It's got ladder bars, NMW ladder bars, that I had the gentleman weld in when he was welding the perches in for me. So it was all one deal. So it pulls pretty good out of the hole. And I'm hoping this spring I see some improvement on my 60-foot time. And hopefully, well, I'm going to race at Ware Shoals in the 3-pedal deal. And I'm going to race Wilkesboro and going up there and racing up there with 3-pedal. But thank goodness it's on weekends when I'm not racing in Georgia, because that's my priority at this point.